In the quaint town of Willowdale, a curious and daring young girl named Rose had always been up for any adventure. She spent most of her days exploring the lush forests and golden fields that surrounded her cozy home. However, one day, Rose went out for a walk and didn't come back. Her parents searched frantically for their daughter, combing every inch of their property and asking the neighbors if they had seen her. Unfortunately, no one had seen her, and as the days passed by, their hope began to dwindle. Unknown to her family, Rose had been taken by a malicious man who had been stalking her for weeks. He had spotted her wandering through the woods and knew that he had found the perfect prey. He had been planning his actions for months, carefully selecting the perfect place to take her and the most painful ways to hurt her. Rose was locked up in a dark, damp cellar, her hands and feet chained to a cold, hard wall. The man would come in every day to torment her, sometimes beating her until she was unconscious, and sometimes just poking her with a stick to see her flinch. He would laugh as she cried out in pain, enjoying the power he had over her. Days turned into weeks, and Rose's parents had given up hope. But then, by a stroke of luck, a passerby was out walking in the woods and stumbled across the man's property. She heard Rose's faint cries for help and immediately called the police. The police arrived just in time to rescue Rose, who was barely alive and covered in bruises. They apprehended the man and took Rose to the hospital. Her parents rushed to her side and wept tears of joy upon seeing her alive. But Rose was never the same. The emotional trauma of what had happened to her had left her deeply scarred. She would often wake up screaming in the middle of the night, reliving the horrors she had experienced. She was never able to enjoy the outdoors again, always feeling like someone was watching her. The man was sentenced to life in prison, but Rose's life was forever changed. She had been brutally victimized, and her spirit was never the same. The people of Willowdale would never forget the tragedy that had befallen their once lively and adventurous Rose.